Hello, everybody. Welcome to Creative Ops, a podcast for creative people, by creative people. I'm your host, Christopher Talon, and today I talked to Alfonso Civile from the band Heartsick. They are a metal band from Lansing, Michigan. Man, I don't know. If you like punk rock, if you like heavy metal, if you like people that can sing melodically and also just scream their guts out, this is a band for you. They've been rocking for almost 20 years. They used to be Know Lyfe. Now they're Heartsick. Pretty much the same band since the beginning with a couple different drummers. They're going to tell you what bands are doing right now in COVID when they can't get out and support themselves the normal way, and all the things that they've got coming up hopefully in the future. God willing, this thing ends soon enough and these guys can get back out to rocking in the fall. Either way, get out there, check out Heartsick. Look in the show notes. You can find all their contact info, find them on social media, see their website and everything else. And enjoy the interview with Alfonso Civile from Heartsick. I feel you, man. I'm just glad you're here now.
No, I'm glad to be here for sure. And it's just funny, because you say that and I'm like, yeah, I get it. But then I look across the room to our buddy Shane, who does photography for us and starting to help manage the band. And he's got his shit together, man. That guy plans everything. But then again, his wife is I work with his wife and she's super boss lady. So I guess it makes sense. But for me, man, nah, bro. You're asking a lot out of me to plan some shit, but I'll do it. It takes you getting used to.
So with the band then, who does most of the booking stuff, or do you guys have someone else outside of the band completely that does that now?
Yes and no. It's a little kind of like a both. I still do booking for the band if it's regional stuff.
Yeah.
But that's been a lot less and less. It's become more taken over by our booking agent. His name is Nick Bell. And he's been able to kind of take over a lot of the actual out of state kind of booking. But even then I'll still do a lot of it. But to be flat out honest, I need to stop, just because again, I have a lot of,
it's just too much stuff.
No, yeah, that I have a lot of character flaws, and a character flaw of mine is just I'm just way too nice, and it's okay. If you ask to book my band, I'm just yeah, man, sure. We're I'm an old school heavy metal, hardcore punk rock kid. I grew up, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. I was born in 81, grew up all through the 80s, and then the 90s were my teenage years. So, punk was really big, and, new metal was starting to become big. And so I really adapted to the really punk rock kind of attitude, so I'm a firm believer in fuck it, man, we'll play wherever you want. You want me to play in your backyard? I'll fucking play in your backyard. Just bring everybody. I don't give a shit. I'm just here to throw down, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, I have to look at it and the other perspective from the people that help advise us and that are part of our team that want us to succeed. There's a certain level of professionalism that you have to kind of keep to sort of push that other level of, well, these guys are actually here. They're not down here. And although I feel the band is a little higher on the totem pole these days, I still am really have that, like I said, and this actually, it's most of the whole band, all of us still have this sort of punk rock ethos that, 9 times out of 10, you ask us to play a house party, we're going to play it, man. We just love that shit. But then there's that perception of well, why is this band still playing basement shows and house shows and blah, 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 more so than playing these really big venues. So it becomes hard. So for me, it's become a lot harder to book per se, because I'll just say yes to anything. I just want to play, man. I straight don't give a shit about money. I straight don't give a shit about clout or I don't care, dude. I just want to go out there and just rip the head off the snake, so to say, and get on stage and just do it.
Yeah.
But there's another side to that. And for as noble as that is, there's the other side of like, there's the business side in which there is a perception and there is a way to be professional and still be able to have that sort of, you know, that genuine sort of personality, but also have people respect you and understand that you're at a certain level now. So we do have a booking agent that does book a lot of our regional shows and a lot of our out-of-state shows and our tours for sure. I'm not booking tours anymore. I can, but I'd rather not. I help with dates if need be, but he's pretty good at getting all of them for us. But, you know, I'm still struggling to let go of the reins. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm so used to having the reins on everything. Like this band has always been DIY. Like we never really had like a real record deal or anything that like was really like professional. You know what I'm saying? Like we never were like signed to like some label that really did a lot or anything like that. So we've always been really DIY. And when you become DIY and you come from a DIY sort of mentality, you adapt to a lot of things that are great, that make you a great sort of on the fly person. At the same time, it also sort of hinders your ability to seem professional. So, you know, I'm trying to let go of the reins. It's been hard. It's been really hard, but slowly but surely I'm learning how to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And the more, I mean, like, you sound like you don't think of your band as a business, but like when you think about like, you know, kind of like you've got a brand, you got a base, you want to grow that base, then yeah, that all does make sense. Cause I'm trying to think, who was that? It was one of my wife's friends was, started a photography business and she was new in this town and she was like, all right, well, I'm going to put all my prices just a little bit lower than what everyone else is setting theirs at. And she wasn't getting any business. And she talked to somebody else and they're like, you know, if you want to get more business, you actually have to charge more. And they'll be like, oh, this must be a higher quality. And she's like, well, okay. And she started charging more money and she started getting more business. And it was all that perception thing, you know what I'm like you're talking about. So
it makes sense.
I get it. But like you said, sometimes you just want to go rock and have fun too.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't think of the band as a business, because I'm definitely very business minded. Like,
right.
I am.
But that's not where your head's at, is what I meant.
Yeah. Like I very much, you know, have a lot to do with what happens with the band. You know, if most, you know, all the socials are me, I'm controlling all the socials, and you know, I'm a lot of the videos and the concepts and stuff. I have a big hand in the writing process. You know, so a lot of the creativity I'm very involved in, you know, same with the guys, but I just involved myself a lot in it. So for me, it's more so like I see the band as a business, but it's just like at the end of the day, man, I'm sort of my own worst enemy in certain aspects, because I'm also very invested in just being genuine and being real and forthright. So it's like I still want to do things because of the art, not because of the money that we could potentially make or whatever, you know. And it's like, and that's tough to balance for me. You know, I can't speak for everybody in my band, but I know that for me, it's very hard to find that sort of balance in where I feel we're being genuine, but also being business minded, which is why we really need like management and a manager, because I'm a fucking sap, man. Like you know, I just want to help everybody. So it's like, it's not hard to pull on my heartstrings, man. It really isn't. You know what I'm saying? So I need somebody to be like, shut up, I got this.
You must be a little bit more savvy than you give yourself credit, though, because you guys have been doing this for, I was trying to remember how long, because I've known Waylon since like maybe right about the time we started high school. And then shortly after the band I was in kind of fell apart, I think is when you guys started. So yep. What have you guys been doing? This like 16?
No, man, 20 years, bro.
20 years? Damn.
Yeah, the band started September of 2000. It will be 20 years September of 2020.
Wow. You guys, well, you know, depending on what's going to be open and what's not, are you guys going to try to plan on doing something big if they'll let you?
Yeah, we're trying. The idea right now is to just get this like vinyl release of our current record, Sleep Cycles, try and get that out. But, you know, that's taken a hit because of the whole coronavirus thing.
Right.
So that was supposed to be out now, excuse me, but it's looking like realistically August is when we'll have the vinyl done and with us. And, you know, we're planning something to do with that and maybe the 20-year anniversary of the band and stuff in August. But, you know, it's like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? You know, I think in certain aspects with what's happening with this whole COVID thing, it's good for bands like us who are underground yet have a built following to be able to kind of have like a leg up, so to say, on the touring bands that have a lot of tours coming, you know, that they've just shot all their tours into 2021, because that opens the door to bands like us that still have a sense of like community within their fan base as well as a decent fan base, but also needs to still grow. So it's like we'll be the only shows happening. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the quote unquote local regional scene, depending on how things goes, because there's not going to be any national bands touring realistically. And that opens up the gates to bands like us, who people are already chomping at the bit to go to shows and want to go out and get out of their houses or whatever. So it just all depends. Like if by August shows can happen again, then you bet your ass we're going to go ahead with something cool and fun and big for, you know, the fans. Cause I mean, shit, man, it's been the last time we played a show, I think was like right at the beginning of March, I think was the last show we played. I want to say it was March. You know, I don't even know, bro. I think it was like March 7th or something like that. Like the last show we did. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we haven't played a show at all since March.
Yeah, I was supposed to come to the last show that got canceled like at the last second, the day of.
That was the show. That was the last show we did technically was that show, because we just did an impromptu like live feed. But I mean, shit, we haven't had a show even before that, realistically, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's going to be, I mean, right now, I'm not very hopeful that shows are going to happen anytime before August. I would be very surprised if they did. Very surprised.
I hope so, man. Because just for live music again in general, but when I was going to come see you guys, I was like excited because I remember, and I don't know, man, if you guys have slowed down in your old age or not, but I remember, man, you guys used to just jump and stomp and like Waylon and Jared were throwing their guitars around. Like if those straps weren't on good, those things would go in the 8th row. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
dude, we still do, man. We don't mess around, man. We don't, you know, I don't care how old I am. I'm still going to do that. I'm young and spry at heart. My knees and my back hate it, but ain't stopping me, you know? I think like, you know, it's just how we like express ourselves and how we feel. So we still do that. Like, you know, we still complain if we feel like we didn't move around enough. Like we get mad at each other, like ourselves, not like at individual people in the band, but we're like, you know, Waylon comes off stage, you know, if he's on a stage that like he couldn't do much or like his bass started messing up, and he's like, he's not pissed that like the bass cut out. He's pissed that he couldn't like move, you know, which is funny to me. You know, it's sort of like the opposite of what you would think, you know. He'd be mad, oh, my bass was cutting out, but it was like, no, I couldn't do anything, man. Like I was too focused on my bass, like that I couldn't move, you know. So we still feel that, you know, we still, you know, everybody in this band is still doing it because it's fun, man. Like that's number one. It's like, there's no reason to to do something that you're not having fun doing or that you love. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we still, when we're on stage and you see that from back in the day till now, that's because we still love doing it. It's still fun. You know, it really is. And I know that I can speak for the rest of my band members and myself that, like, you know, we're just going to keep doing it. You know, I've reserved to myself to the fact that, you know, I'm going to die old and gray next to Jared and Waylon and Jake. You know, that's just how it's going to be. Like, those are my best friends, and I'm going to be doing geriatrics with those guys trying to still play our songs at like 80, you know?
Right. Having band practice and then going and doing your pool exercises.
That's right, bro. Our kids are going to be like 30 years old, just going, stop embarrassing me, you know?
That's awesome. Can I ask you just kind of do like we'll do a quick breakdown of like the history of the band.
Absolutely. Ask whatever you want, man. Open book. No questions off limits.
All right, man. So going into the 20th year, at the beginning, the band was called Know Lyfe. And then you guys changed the name of the band, but at the time, like, there was no lineup change. Well, you guys have had, okay, I'm getting all over the place, bro. Let's start from the beginning. It was Know Lyfe. It was the same three guys that are up front, and you guys had a different drummer, right?
Yes. So the band has always been the three guys up front, myself, Jared, and Waylon. We've always been the band. That's always been the core of the band. Now we've had different band members. We've had fill-ins, and we've had permanent band members that quit, then came back, that quit again. But the main three people in the band have always been myself, Jared, and Waylon.
Okay. And then you guys were Know Lyfe. You guys toured a lot as Know Lyfe, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We were touring as Know Lyfe since like straight day one, man. Like, the whole point, like when we started this band, the whole point was play shows, man, and have fun. Like, there was never a hesitation on like, oh, well, how do we want to approach the band? I think everybody from day one was just like, oh yeah, we're definitely playing shows and touring. Like, that's just a given, you know?
Yeah. Well, all right. I don't know if I told you or Waylon this story before, but I went to see a band called Pepper when they played it in Florida when I was living in Florida. And they were part of the Jägermeister tour.
Yeah.
And I saw this poster.
I remember Pepper.
Yeah. And I saw this poster that was like, check out the other Jägermeister bands. And I was looking up there and I was like, Know Lyfe. And I was like, the fuck out of here. I know that. No, what? So
it's funny.
So you guys did that, and you guys were going kind of all over the place, right? As Know Lyfe.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like I said, I mean, the whole goal of the band, when we started the band, was to play shows. I mean, that's always what we wanted to do. I don't think any of us realistically thought that this band was going to go on and do the things that it's done in the amount of time that it's been, especially the things that we've done as a band that's never had a record deal in their life, you know, or like a serious, well-known record deal. Like, you know, if you would have asked any of us if we were going to be sponsored by Jägermeister and open up for Slipknot or do whatever else as like essentially like, you know, a local band, we would have been like, yeah, right. You know, like, but it's happened. And, you know, it's interesting that we've been able to manage doing that, you know?
Well, I think the interesting part too, and that is like you said, you haven't had anybody who's just kind of like grabbed you guys by the collar and is like, here, go this way, guys. You've kind of been doing it all yourselves. Like
we've had people like management here and there, but you know, unfortunately for us, anytime we've ever had people who have wanted to step up to the plate and try and sort of take over those reins, either their life gets complicated and they just can't, or they just kind of disappear. You know, it's always something, man. And it's never like It's never like, oh, you guys aren't performing the way that I want you to or doing well. It's the opposite. Like the band will be doing great and even better. And then it's like people just like, oh, I can't do this, like, and, we're like, all right, whatever, man, we'll just keep going. We were here. We were here before you were, it's still the three guys, the core of the band has always been myself, Jared, and Waylon, so, and, we've sort of had a rotating kind of seat in the drums. We had our drummer, Matt, who, we had our original drummer, Nick, and he quit. And then we got our drummer, Matt. Matt passed away. And then we got Jake. Jake quit. Then we got our buddy, Justin. Justin quit. Kind of just his life got complicated. He's got, he's got kids and a wife, and, those were there before the band, and touring the way that we wanted to tour became a lot harder for him. So Jake came back into the band. Jake, sort of had some time to get his life together and decide what his priorities really wanted to be. So we got Jake back in the band, and now Jake is in the band, and, we're still great friends with Justin. If Jake can't make a show or something, we would always call Justin. Our relationship with Nick is strained, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I wish that guy nothing but the best, but the relationship is strained, and will it ever be repaired? I don't know. I guess that's a question for him, not me.
Yeah. That's weird that can happen though. Like, I was in a band with a dude in high school. We got into a really, really big argument about the sound of the band. Like, when the band started, I think everybody kind of just wanted to sound like Nirvana. You know what I mean? Like, it was the first band that we were playing in front of people, and we did a lot of Nirvana songs and stuff like that. And he was like, I kind of want us to sound more like Pantera. And we're all like, huh? That's a little bit of a switch. And I was like, dude, I don't want to play quite that hard. And he was like, well, blah, 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 blah. And we ended up, I was like, you know what, dude, I quit. If you guys want to do that, that's fine. And ever since then, like to this day, if we saw each other, we'd probably be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird how those things happen, man. Like, bands are really like, they're really a test of like not only friendship, but like of like professionalism on top of like patience. Like, you have to have a lot of patience to be in any friendship with people, because you have to like understand or try and learn how to understand other people. At the same time, you're trying to create art and something else. So we've been fortunate that with most of the band members that we've had, we've remained really good friends. It's just, the situation with our original drummer, Nick, is really more so like me and him butting heads. I'm not going to sit here and make myself seem like an angel. I'm not, like, I have my flaws, and I have my way of doing things, and I have my sort of, ideas, and he had his, but, the way that those ideas and those like, sort of routes that we wanted to take and how to approach those things on top of like personal opinions became complicated, and it was a lot of butting heads, and at the end of the day, he decided that it wasn't for him, and that's cool, and that relationship
better for everybody, right?
Yeah. And, it's like that relationship just stayed strained, and I played my role in it, and I accept my responsibility for sure. But then we have our drummer, Jake, who, again, me and him, we would butt heads a lot more than everybody. Because, in the band, there's always that, like, sort of, like, leader or whatever it is, and, like, I'm the guy in the band that sort of needs to hold on to the reins and, like, tries to get the things done for the band. It's just every band has that one or two people, So for me, sort of a lot of decision making, like the final decision making, de facto falls on me. You know, like everybody in the band gets a say, but like I'm the guy. Like, okay, the band says yes, let's do this. So that can make it seem sometimes that like, you know, one person only wants it one way, and it becomes very construed. And, you know, it's like a relationship, man. You know, your girlfriend or your wife just gets mad at you for something and it just spirals out of control. And you're like, what the fuck are you mad about? And, you know, so, you know, that happened sort of with Jake. And then, but we made up and we figured out the differences and the problems, and it's better for it, you know? So it's weird how those things kind of work out, you know, how one relationship will stay strained, but the other one will work itself out. You know?
Well, some of that's probably just maturity too, but
yeah,
you know, it's, I wonder if there isn't something to the drummer frontman relationship. Cause I've heard people like, not that you guys sound anything like the Dave Matthews Band, but I heard, one interview sometime where, I think it was Dave Matthews was saying that him and the drummer, like by far go at it as far as like musical direction or creative direction or whatever. And I wonder if there's not something to like the element of control, like, because when you're up in front and you're in the microphone, like you are the face and the voice of the band more or less. But when you're playing the drums, you're kind of like driving the car. You know what I mean? You count off the song. If somebody starts playing a little too fast, like you look at them and they look at you and they're like, oh, I'll get back with you now. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. That wasn't the right question. That was just a weird thing to.
No, yeah, I think it's just really like drummers happen to be very creative too. I think, you know, and then singers is just de facto, like you're the like front man, so people just assume certain things about like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, it's the age old argument of, is the music more important than the vocals, or is the vocals more important than the music? It's like, at the end of the day, I think obviously they all go together, but for whatever reason, people are drawn to the vocals on a song. It's like the reason, you know, like ask anybody to tell you a Led Zeppelin song and they're probably going to tell you more so the lyrics, and they are going to like be like, oh, that one part in that song. But they're going to be like, you know, the lyric, you know, or whatever. So it's one of those things, I think. But I think that a lot of drummers are also very creative. You know, they're very, they can play guitar, they can play instruments, they can sing. On the other hand, singers sometimes are very one-dimensional. You know, some singers don't really do more than sing and play guitar or something. It's very rare to have a guy like Prince, who's an amazing singer, but also who's an amazing guitar player. You know, arguably one of the best in the world. You know,
dude, I heard something crazy. Like that guy was not just proficient, but like a master at something like over a dozen instruments.
Oh, that guy wasn't human, man. That guy was, the people that he hired for his band were like perfect, but he was better than them.
Yeah.
If that tells you anything. Like he was better than like his bass player and Sheila E. Like he was better than his drummer, who's like Sheila E., who's like a legend, but he was better than her. And she was even like, I can't play like Prince.
The weird thing is I think because of a lot of his like really good stuff came out in the synthesizer era, a lot of people aren't going to be able to shake that sound, that synthesizer that comes in there. But man, if you listen to some of the guitar riffs, like, what's the one? Let's Go Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Get nuts.
Yeah.
That guitar riff rocks. Like you hear all that, but underneath there is like down, like he's rocking, man.
You can teach an entire class on just one Prince album and still have like 80 hours worth of stuff to study in it. You know, like the guy was a genius, man. The guy was on another level too. And he looked better than your girlfriend and can steal your girlfriend. Go figure.
Right. He'd make her outfit look better and still get her.
Exactly, bro.
All right. So we're kind of jumping around. I hope it doesn't bother you. It doesn't bother me. I'm a little ADD though. So then you guys went from Know Lyfe to Heartsick. Was there a creative change that you guys wanted to do? Like when you went from like, this was our Know Lyfe sound, this is our Heartsick sound, or did you just kind of feel like the name didn't work for you?
Name didn't work anymore. It felt, it was like a few things. One, it felt a little dated. Two, it was a way to honor our late drummer who hated the name and wanted to change it anyway. And three, very, very, very surface level, maybe some change of style, but that was never the plan. I think the change in style has just evolved just by the music that we like, on top of wanting to create more in-depth music, but still more palatable, but still remain relevant. And I think that if we were to keep writing songs, the way Know Lyfe was writing songs, it would be fine, but it would be pigeonholed. And I don't think anybody wanted us to do that. But we've never been a band that wanted to be pigeonholed anyway. Like we know we're a heavy band. We all love heavy metal. We want to be a heavy band. That's never changed. But the dynamics on where the heavy would be has always been sort of intertwined by all of our influences, So I think that we just want to experiment. I mean, if you listen to our self-titled record, Heartsick, the first record we did as Heartsick, like there's 16 songs on that, and not a single song sounds the same. They don't sound. Every song sounds like it could be in a different genre of metal. But then you listen to this record, and it's a little bit more focused, because that's important too. You want to have that focus. It's like very few bands can go out there and make a very eclectic record, and it's going to work for them every time. Most people, and unfortunately just people in general, just need like direction. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can kind of deviate a little bit from your sound within a record, but you still got to stay with it,
Yeah. Well, I thought you guys had a awesome record. The last one that you put out, well, that was the first one you put out as Heartsick, right?
Yeah. That was a self-titled. And then now we have Sleep Cycles, which we've had for just over a year now. Record came out in 2019, February 2019. So it's been out for a year and 3 months or something like that.
Right. Okay. That's the one that I've been listening to a bunch lately then. That's the one that's got, if I get any of the names wrong, is it Methylene Blue?
Yeah. Yeah, that's got that.
What was the other song that on there that I listen to constantly too? Something Casket.
Heartsick has Rose Casket Diary on it.
Okay, that's a different song. Okay.
Yeah, that's on the first record. But record. I mean, that song could fit into Sleep Cycles now. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like that song could have been on this record. But, it was on the older record where we made 16 songs and that were all heavy, but they were all different variations of different styles of metal. We've got death metal songs on there. We've got pop metal songs on there. We've got southern metal songs on there. So, we got a hip hop song on there. So it's like that record is very eclectic, but we liked it. It was fun, and it was a great record for us.
Well, yeah, and there's some songs on there like where 1 minute forgive me because it's going to sound terrible when I try to do it, but where you're like, doing your just screaming, and then the next minute you sound like you're almost not like using a choir voice, but like just a very clean, like
yeah.
And then you go back and forth. It sounds almost like the song starts out, it's going to be metal, then it kind of sounds punk for a second, and then all of a sudden it just kind of turns into like this beautiful, I guess, metal orchestra of the instruments all just kind of like erupting into this thing and bringing you back into the song again. I love
exactly. That's something that we really wanted to try there, and we did, and that was fun. And that's the whole point, man. The whole point is to have fun and make music that you enjoy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I don't think anybody in this band wants to make a record that is just going to cater to people. We want to make a record that we want to make, but that also people are going to like. There's a balance there. It's that sort of bringing it full circle, it's that balance, the very, very fine balance of like perception and being genuine,
Mm-hmm. The last time that we tried to talk, you guys had just gotten out of the studio. I'm curious, what kind of changes are people going to see from the last couple records to this one? Just in terms of like,
ask the question one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to get right up on this mic. I forgot.
Good.
What kind of changes are people going to hear on the record that you guys are working on right now?
Oh shit, man.
Like, are you guys trying anything that's completely different that people are going to go, what? Or did you change any songwriting methods at all? Or
yes and no. Just more in depth, more experimental with like electronic sounds and with hip hop and with like lower tunings. But I think it's not going to be like, oh my God, what the hell is this? I think it's just it's going to show an evolution of the songs, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's like super like out of left field. I think it'll, if anything else, feel more honed in and more familiar.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear more of it. Do you guys have plans to drop any, like, just one song here, one song there? You're going to wait till you have a full finished product before you start dropping anything?
The plan right now is, I think, like, as the year rolls on, I think the plan is to release a new song, a new video, probably sometime in October, maybe later. I don't know. It'd be cool. But right now, the record that we have, Sleep Cycles, is doing well, and it's being noticed more and more. So we're trying to do as much with this record as possible. Like right now, we're in the studio right now, recording some live playthroughs with our guitar player, and then I'm going to hop off here in a minute and then do some vocal covers of just, to put content out there for our YouTube channel. And then we're shooting another video for songs on this record, Sleep Cycles. We're trying to do a bunch of different stuff, and we're always trying to rotate who we work with, but still remain friends with those people and give everybody the business, and try and give our friends business, and kind of keep rotating who we work with to not just sort of fall into a routine, but still know that those people are talented. So we're still milking this record for the most that we can, but I'm hoping that we can get something new out to people where it would make sense in October, because that's when, for now, the tour that we had planned in April has been rescheduled to October. So it would make a lot of sense to release something new for a tour that we're going to be doing in October, to announce a new record. Will that work out in that way? I don't know. Maybe the vinyl will do really, really well, and it'll make us just push this Sleep Cycles record a little further before we get into new territory. We'll see. As of right now, we have 5 new songs completely recorded, and then we've got another like 7 or 8 written, and then we're writing more. So, whenever we can get back into the studio that we normally go to, we go record with our buddy Josh in Midland, who's done a lot of really great bands and has had a lot of success in challenging us and changing the way that we do things in our style, and understands how heavy we want to be. So we'll see. I don't know, but I'm thinking right now October would probably be the best time.
Yeah. When I think about that stuff, I get, I guess, kind of ahead of, where the ball is right now, just because you guys aren't touring, because, not by any choice of yours, but, so I'm thinking like, well, if you're not touring and you're in the studio, then you should be dropping something new. But like, this is the time that you guys were going to really be supporting Sleep Cycles. So besides like getting on your social media, what do you try to do to support that?
So right now, like I said, we're in our buddy's studio, 1887 Media, and we're doing, our guitar player is going to start doing some playthrough videos of our songs. So is our bass player. Talk about the songs, why we're doing certain things in the songs, or how this part came up, kind of thing. And then I myself am doing a few vocal covers, because I've never done that before. It's kind of out of my comfort zone, but it seems kind of fun, and people want to see what my voice can do outside of like Heartsick. And it also shows like my capacity for the songs that I like, for bands that have influenced me. So, we're building up our social media, YouTube channel content right now. We've got a new video that we're going to be working on. We're working on planning another live stream with, again, our friends in 1887 Media, who've got some really awesome stuff that they can do with a lot of gear to make really awesome live media streams happen to where they sound good, they seem professional. So we're working on another one of those. We're working on releasing some like live footage, kind of like you see on Audio Tree on channels like that. We're doing that as well. So just, keeping busy, man. Just because the world is sort of like on pause right now doesn't mean everybody's stopped. It's just, there's just a different way of doing things.
Right.
So yeah. So like I said, I mean, literally like, in a few minutes when we're done here, I'm jumping in the fucking booth and like rocking out some Fear Factory, so.
That's awesome. Well, before we go, I just want to ask you a couple questions, kind of
Sure.
more specifically about your creative process, if you don't mind.
Sure. Of course.
Typically, because I'm sure there's probably a little bit of both, but does the band usually come to you and say like, hey man, we've got this song, put some good lyrics down? Or do you come to them and go like, hey guys, I've kind of got this thing that's structured in this way. Can you guys put something down for this?
I myself am very into writing songs and being creative. I'm also very fortunate in where I have a little bit more time that I can get some stuff done. Waylon's got a kid, and he's got to take care of his kid. All of us work a lot of hours. I work 2 jobs. The rest of my band members all both work an insane amount. So it's hard sometimes for them to just kind of like sit at home and like just write a bunch of songs. So for me, 9 times out of 10 in recent years, I'm the one that comes to them and says, hey man, I've got this idea for a song. I'm going to go record it in the studio as a demo. You guys want to come with and help me write it? And they're either sure or like, no, I got to work. Either way, I'll go do it, record it, show it to the guys. If they like it, it's going to make it onto a record. So we start learning it. If they don't like it, then whatever, it doesn't matter. No big deal. Right now we're trying a few different things in the creative process. I'm a big fan of recording stuff and writing songs in a studio, but I'm also a big fan of writing songs as a band the way that we used to write them, which we haven't done in a while. We adapted a new writing process in the last few years. So Waylon actually wanted to sort of go back and revisit how we would write songs before, all of us together in a room by ourselves, just writing a song. So we're going to experiment with that again and go back to that. But in that aspect, it's like sort of, I usually come with the ideas as of late. It's never always been like that, but in recent years, that's been sort of how we do it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard some bands are exclusively one way or the other about like, do the lyrics come first or does the music come first? And
music always comes first for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not somebody who can write lyrics and then put them to a song. That to me is like, that might as well be like spaceship building, man. Like that's weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know if some people have to get the poetry out to find the song in the poetry, but like, yeah, no, if I was going to write something, it's usually like, ooh, that sounds kind of catchy. Let me try to write something now that sounds good playing over that, or, singing over that. And then as far as like just writing, being a poet, because I mean, being a lyricist, some people don't consider that being a poet, but it absolutely is in my mind. Have you always been into writing like either poetry or stories or even just journaling? Or
I've always been into journaling, really. I haven't done a lot of writing as of the last few years, but growing up in high school and all that, yeah, man, I wrote a lot, man. I used to like write every day. I should probably get back to doing that realistically, but I'm more interested in writing guitar parts now and songs rather than like writing physical writing, and I'll write after. But I still always have ideas in my head, and I'm still always like thinking about stuff to write about. But as when I was a little younger and I was in high school and even in college and stuff, I used to write all the time, all of the time.
Yeah.
And even now I still do just notes.
Like, so it wasn't just a necessity, like, well, I want to write a song, so I got to write these.
No. It was really the best way for me to get my feelings out and to cope with reality and to cope with like the world,
Yeah. Well, I like journaling even now still, like you said, I should do it way more than I still do it. But like, if you've got just whether it's an emotion or it's just like something you're thinking about, like, I don't know how I stand on this. Am I over here? Am I over there? Sometimes if you force yourself to write something down and like think sequentially without your mind just jumping all over the place, you can kind of get to a place that you can't even just talking sometimes.
Absolutely, man. I agree 100%. For me, that's how it was, man. It's a great way to communicate to yourself realistically,
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you have a fear of flying. I hate flying, but if I'm writing, doesn't matter. I don't even know I'm in the plane. Like some people are drunk. I can't do it. I gotta write the whole time I'm in the air.
I like flying, but I migrated to this country with my family, and I travel a lot, so flying is fun for me. I just passed out on planes. I'm just
more power to you. I had to fly on a plane one time. I was in the Navy for a little while, and I had to fly on a plane for like 9 hours straight, and the seats were backwards, and there were no windows. The whole time I was like, I can't tell what's going on, but everything feels wrong.
That sounds terrifying. I will admit that.
Yeah. Shoot. How much time you got, man? I don't want to keep you if you got band obligations.
I think I should probably kind of get going here because we were late to the studio anyway, and I think Shane and Ryan probably want to fucking stab me in the face because we were late here anyway. We still got to do the rest of this. So,
all right, man. Well, then I guess just real quick, if there's anything that you want to say for the people listening, where they can find you on YouTube, on social media, anything that you guys might have coming up.
You can find everything. Facebook Heartsick Band, Instagram Heartsick Band, YouTube it's Heartsick Official, and Bandcamp it's Heartsick Band. Everything is basically Twitter Heartsick Band. So really easy. Just look up Heartsick Band and you're gonna find like just mostly everything. On my personal socials, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can do, my first and my last name, Alfonso Civile, and you can find me like almost on anything. And I've got my personal page in which I trigger everybody all the time, and everybody just yells at me for fucking having an opinion that is empathetic. And if you can follow me on like my artist page, which is really fucking douchey that I have to do that because I'm not cool, and I don't think I have an influence on anybody, but Facebook limits my friends, and I'm like, I can't add any more people. So I started a fucking like artist page, and that's just like Fonzie Civile, and you can go on there, and I don't trigger people as much on that, but I'm going to start to on purpose just because clearly the world is going insane. And if you fucking ask people to not be assholes and empathetic, they just lose their shit. So.
Oh, dude, one thing I got to say, too, that was just so funny to me now that you're talking about social media and whatnot is I was on your social media looking at some of the videos that were on there, and I was like, oh, he's married? Clicked on your wife's thing, and there was this one picture of her, and underneath it, you wrote, I would do you so hard. And then, like, there was this old lady underneath it who was like, I don't like this one. And in my mind, I was just like, I bet that's probably her aunt. And she's like, oh, no.
Dude, I love my wife, and I think my wife is the most beautiful woman on earth. So I say all the old dirty man things to my wife all the time. But that's the beauty of being married. They can't yell at you for it because they're like, well, you're stuck with me. So,
You say it to a stranger, it's horrible. You say it to your wife,
it's sexual harassment. If you say it to your wife, it's okay.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on. I'm glad we were finally to get with you.
Sure, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I really hope that you guys are able to rock out soon.
Me too.
Because, man, I miss that energy. It's been a while. And I won't throw bands under the bus because that's not cool. But I saw a band a couple of years ago that was huge in the metal community for a long time. And they just stood there the entire time. Nothing, just stood there. And I was like, these guys are headlining an outdoor festival. People have been waiting for them all day. And it just stood there. I was like, man. Nope.
Way of the world, man. We're just going to keep doing what we do and hopefully people notice, you know?
Yeah, because I was going to say, man, the stage is almost falling apart by the time you guys are done on it.
Good. It should be.
All right, man. Well, keep putting out the good music, man. I'll keep listening to it, and hope to see you guys soon.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jason. Your beard rocks. I wish I was as manly as you.
Thank you, sir.